Well, inheritance is one of the most important concepts in Java because it is an important pillar of object-oriented programming, which is also known as OOPS. It is a mechanism by which one class is allowed to inherit the features, that is, the field and methods of another class. In Java, inheritance means creating new classes based on existing one. A class that inherits from another class can reuse the methods and fields of that class. In addition, you can add new fields and methods to your current class as well. So, why do we need inheritance? We need inheritance because it supports code reusability. So, whenever you write a code, let's say that you start by developing a software and you start by creating a very basic version of that software, and that everything, all of that basic features are defined in a class, which is considered as the parent class. When I want to add new features to the existing software, all I need to do is create another class which is going to extend or which is going to inherit the properties of the previous class and write the code for the new features. So what we can see here is we are reusing the code which was already defined, and we can easily add new features to our program. When it comes to Java, whenever whenever you want to implement inheritance, we use the extends keyword. So as you can see here, I have a class called as child, which extends the parent class. There are certain terminologies that we need to be aware of when it comes to inheritance. Number one is, of course, class. Class is a set of objects which share common characteristics of behavior and common properties or attributes. It is a template or a blueprint from which objects are created. And there's another concept called a superclass or parent class. So the base class, it's also called as the base class. This is a class whose features are inherited by another class. There's a concept called a subclass or child class, derived class, or extended class. These are subclasses that inherit the properties of the parent class. Excuse me. So, in this case, child is the subclass and parent is the superclass. So, if I'm defining inheritance, I'll define a class called as parent, and then I have a class called as child, which inherits the properties of the parent class. So in this case, parent is the superclass and child is the subclass. The next topic is types of inheritance. When it comes to inheritance, there are different types of inheritance that we are looking at: single, multi-level, hierarchical, and multiple. Now, Java supports only the first three types. There is another inheritance called as hybrid, which is written in a lot of books. It's a combination of all. Now, Java does not support multiple inheritance. Please keep that in mind. Let us look at what are each types of inheritance one at a time. The first one is single inheritance. A single inheritance is the inheritance where a subclass derives from the superclass. There's only one subclass. So this is an example of a single inheritance where class A is the parent class and class B inherits or extends the A class. This is a single level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance is where one class is a subclass of another class and there's another class which is a subclass of the subclass. Like in this case, you can see class A is a parent class, class B is a subclass which extends from A, and class C is another subclass which extends from B. So you can look at the inheritance. The inheritance looks something like this: A, B, C. The third type of inheritance is hierarchical inheritance. A hierarchical inheritance is an inheritance where one parent can have multiple children. So as you can see, class A here is the parent class B and class C, which are both extending A, are children of class A. So that's about types of inheritance. Now let's look at the keyword super. Now super is a keyword which is used in Java. It is used in three contexts. Number one, super keyword is used to call the constructor of the parent class. Number two, super keyword can also be used to refer to the variables of the parent class. And number three, super keyword can also be used to invoke parent class methods. Now, in this case, there is a class called as class A. This is the constructor of class A. This is a method which belongs to class A. Here you can see there's a variable which belongs to class A. Now, class B is another class which extends A. This is B's constructor. So, as you can see, I've written the keyword super over here. The super keyword with the brackets is used to call the constructor of the super class, like the previous class or the parent class. So please remember, whenever you call whenever you write super, it should always be the first line in the constructor. So when this program is run, once this line gets executed, it will call the constructor of the super class. Another way of using super is like for accessing the variable. So here you can see I'm accessing the variable of the super class. So you simply write super dot variable name. The third thing is like, for example, here you can see there's a class called as print D. Now, print is a method, sorry, not a class, is a method of the class A. To call the method, which is already written in the super class, 1 second, let's just remove this. As of now, we don't need this. Okay, yes. So to call the method of the super class, you simply type super dot name of the method. So as you can see, prindy is a method which belongs to the super class. Okay. So once again, I repeat, super is a keyword in Java which is used in three contexts. Number one, to call the constructor of the parent class. Number two, to access variables of the superclass. Number three, to call methods of the parent class. The next important concept in Java is method overriding. Method overriding is concept where the parent, the child class or the subclass will write its own implementation of a method that the parent class has. In this case, as you can see, there's a method called as void print D in class A. Now, when you talk about method overriding, the class B is also going to have a method with the same name, same parameter. However, it is going to override whatever is written in A. So when I execute this code, it will print subclass instead of super. So basically, method overriding is used whenever a child class or a subclass needs to define its own implementation of a superclass method. It is different than method overloading. Method overloading is where you have a method with same name but different signatures in the same class. Method overriding is when you have a method with the same name and same signature in a subclass. Okay, I hope you understood the concept of inheritance. I request you to read the supporting reference material and also to solve the quiz provided. Thank you so much.